Good afternoon to the citizens of St. Bernard Parish. Today is Tuesday, April 21st. As always, we will start off with a prayer, a personal prayer for those affected with this horrible disease. Thank you. Let me start out with our updates today. Our hospital is doing great. Again, the reports of continually going down, low numbers of visits to the emergency room. We also have 10 COVID patients. That's been the lowest amount in a long time. And we have 30 patients total in the hospital. So only 10 are COVID and none of them are on a ventilator. Thank you so much, St. Bernard Parish Hospital, Oxygen System, for all of the hard work you guys are doing. And if we do our part as citizens of St. Bernard Parish, we will make sure that your job going forward is a lot easier than it was a few weeks ago. And thank you again. I do want to talk about these numbers. We have 428 cases now in St. Bernard Parish, and in our state, it's 24,854. So as we move into this phase one category, I want to correct something that I said yesterday. I asked the governor, Governor, are we going to be grouped in with New Orleans when we're talking about getting into phase two? So his answer was no. So we went on to something else. You don't have much time when you're talking to the governor. He's very busy. So we went on to the next subject. I'm figuring he meant that each parish will be alone in their numbers and how it's tracked. But what he meant, I believe, was that, no, Guy, you're not going to be grouped in with the city. You're going to be grouped in with the whole state of Louisiana. So moving forward, the way I see it today, and this can change, is that however Louisiana's numbers are going, all parishes are going to be grouped into that grouping, if you will. And whether or not we move into phase one, we're going to move into phase one as a state. And that's not so bad, because if you look at the state's numbers, going back to the beginning of April, if this was instituted, and let's say, if I remember right, April 2nd through April 16th, we would definitely have been into phase one. So we believe here in St. Bernard Parish that we're going to be entering into phase one as a state, and we're preparing for that here in St. Bernard Parish. We're talking to our businesses. I had asked everyone to send an email. If you have a plan to open your business today, what is it? And what is your plans to meet the social distancing guidelines? What is your plan to be a responsible business in a community that is dealing with this COVID-19? I should say a country, all world, right? What are you going to do? And we've received some emails at President McInnis at sbpg.net. I've received a lot of information from businesses throughout St. Bernard Parish, and you guys do a wonderful job, and y'all have a whole lot more to say about the social distancing guidelines than we do as a government. So I think in the hands of our businesses, when we open up in a certain way, in a responsible way, as declared in phase one in those certain businesses, I do believe that we're going to do the right thing here in St. Bernard Parish. So I will continue to be in constant contact with our businesses here in St. Bernard Parish. We're going to be ready on May 1st, and I know you are, and I know you're going to be responsible. So I wanted to clear that up. You know, we had a lot of discussions since yesterday. I was on a phone call today with all of the parishes in the state of Louisiana, a lot of the parish presidents. They have the same type of government that we do. Robbie Miller in Tangible Hope, Mike Cooper in St. Tammany. You know, we got a lot of parish presidents, Archie Chason in Lafourche. So we talking to a lot of Jacqueline Hotard and St. John over there, right? So we're talking together and making sure that when we come out, we're all pretty much on the same page and we're working together. We know the city of New Orleans, and there's been a lot of talk about that, a lot of back and forth. They're dealing with some different issues in the city. So we're mindful of that. But you know, when you're going through these phases and when you're trying to work as a team to accomplish a goal, there's always going to be the bad with the good. And a lot of times, the good has to suffer for the bad. And that's what's happening in the city. You know, we have to listen. Every single person in every single neighborhood, on every single street. We need to listen to the authorities who are trying to get us to do the right thing. Why? We're figuring that out now. What is it? We got to get back to work. We can't continue to sit home. We got to get back to work. We have to get this economy moving for a lot of different reasons. But we have to start working in that direction. But if communities all around this country, if communities in the state of Louisiana, if we have communities that have knuckleheads in it that don't want to listen, then the good's going to suffer for the bad. And growing up in team sports my whole life, I know what that means. One of the best discipline things that I went through as a basketball player is the guy who showed up late, or the guy that continues to show up late, or is a cancer, we used to call it, on a team. Instead of him running suicides, coach would sit him on a bucket at halftime, at the half court, and we would have to run suicides, and he was watching us. And he was the reason why we were doing that. One of the best things that taught me life lessons in sports. You know, we have people in our community that are just not going to do the right thing. And the problem with that is, as a coach or as a leader, we can't put them on a bench. And we can't discipline them in the ways that I know everybody around would want to discipline them. I can tell you that as a community, we are talking about these things. We are talking about what's going to happen after this COVID-19 scare, once we have a vaccine, once we have a therapeutic, and how we handle these kind of things going forward. So there's a lot more talk about that than you may believe, but there's so many circumstances about how to discipline those and how to get them in line to make sure that our community can continue to do good when we're talking about being responsible and following the CDC guidelines. I want to reiterate, most of our community and the citizens and our businesses, well over 90%, 99% are doing great, and we want you to continue to do that. And let us try to focus on the small percentage of what's happening in our community that's bringing us the other way. And right now we're not seeing it in the numbers, but it's something that it's there, but we're not focused on it. I can tell you what we're focused on. We're focused on the citizens who want to get back to work. We're focused on working with our state and our region to make sure that we're moving in the same direction as everyone else, so that our state as a whole move forward together. So I wanted to make sure we talked about all that today, and let me talk about what's going on in parish government. We're going back to work Monday, full staff. Our buildings will still not be open for public access, but we're going to ask our employees, you should be receiving an email today, coming back to work on Monday. That's a great thing. It's a step forward. It's some normalization in our lives. So we said that all of our employees, I want to make sure I get all of this out here today. You should get an email in your employee email portal describing what that situation is going to be when you come back Monday. We're asking all of our managers and directors to personally reach out to all of the employees that they are responsible for and let them know what's going to be happening Monday. You will report at your normal scheduled work time, and we're going to make sure that we have all the safety precautions in place, CDC guidelines in place, and just so everyone will know, when you enter a building or when you show up to work at wherever you're going to show up, your temperature will be taken on a daily basis to make sure that you and all of your co-employees are safe. All of our buildings will be disinfected before you show up to work on Monday. And if you have any questions about returning to work on Monday, we ask you to contact William McCartney, our personnel director, at WMcCartney, MCCARTNEY, at sbpg.net. And there are other ways to get in contact with Mr. McCartney, but we would ask you to email him between now and Monday. We are looking forward to having all of our employees here at the government complex. We are looking forward to creating a plan to get back to work on May 1st. We're looking to support our governor to make sure he has all of the pertinent information on the ground so that we can make sure that the right information is getting into the right people's hands so that we can move forward. We implore the citizens of St. Bernard Parish, do the right thing. Be part of the solution and do not be a part of the problem. Thank you and God bless.